Good morning, everyone. Okay, we are up and running with the streaming. Thank you, everyone, for being here this morning. I hear that there's a high of 80 today.
Wow.
So that's happening. And is there anyone here for the very first time who would like to introduce themselves to the group? You don't have to, but if you'd like to say, hey, my name is, and just a brief little something, we want to give you the floor. Yeah.
My name is Kimberly.
Hi, Kimberly. We're glad to have you. As you came in, you may have noticed there is a little things and kind of give us an idea of what you liked about today. We love the feedback. It goes in the prayer box that's underneath the singing in the back. And then there's a little welcome packet if you want a mug or a free hug button. Help yourselves. And if you're joining us online, I have a little message on here. One time, side note, Melissa spoke and there's a message on the streaming that I just ignored and didn't read, and it didn't record her. So I wanted to make sure that was not what was happening. So thank you for your patience, everyone. If you're joining us online for the first time, you can go to our website, unitydesmoines.com, and there are links there to learn more about the Unity movement at unity.org. You can also get a view of the last week's newsletter that went out on Tuesday. You can see who's coming up to speak, and it's just there as a great resource, unitydesmoines.com. Also, you can see all the speakers and vendors that we're gonna have at the Spirit Seekers Fair on May 3rd, because folks, we have filled the house. It is gonna be such a big event, and all we need now is to invite people in to visit all the amazing vendors that we're gonna have. In case you didn't know, maybe you're brand new online or you're brand new in the building, Unity Center of Des Moines is a diverse community that is committed to a positive spiritual path. And we welcome you just as you are, recognizing that each person is on their own unique spiritual journey. So let's begin with song. We've got our music team, Susan Kellogg and Deb Jennings, and the lyrics are gonna be up on the screen. I went on a hike with some girls last night, and we sing this often enough here that we started belting out the song on the path. So
You feel free
Join
to
in.
move, dance, flip your heels. All right.
We are one in the spirit, we are one in the love. We are one in the spirit, we are one in the love. And we pray that our unity may one day be restored. And that though we're one family by our love, and to know we're one family by our love. We will walk with each other, we will walk hand in hand. We will walk with each other, we will walk hand in hand. And together we'll spread the news that love is in our land. And that though we're one family by our love, and to know we're one family by our love. We will work with each other, we will work side by side. We will work with each other, we will work side by side. And we'll guide each one's dignity and save each one's pride. And they'll know we're one family by our love, and they'll know we're one family by our love.
yay! I love how we got that going, bring the energy up. Yes. All right. Who has a celebration to share? Shout it out loud. Let it be known. I will start with, I am so grateful with filling the house for the Spirit Seekers Fair. Like, there is no more room in the inn. Like, people have reached out, and I'm like, we're full. We're gonna have another one in the fall. So, super excited about that. And also, we've got some structure going with the children's program. Deja's down there right now. We've got some special guests coming in doing art projects and drumming and amazing stuff with the kids. So stay tuned for more of that. You can look at our Facebook page and see some announcements. So if you have kids, you maybe have grandkids, or you have families, and we want to get kids connected to their own positive spirituality, with people not telling them what to think or believe, but having an opportunity to connect with that inside. And one of the ways we do it is creativity, because creativity, inspiration comes from spirit. So gonna have lots of things, lots of fun if you want to check out the children's area. And we're gonna have it from 10:15 to 11:15. So before the service starts, and then the kids will come up and join us for the greeting of peace and the closing song and all that. So if you're online and you didn't know about it, we actually got some structure. So celebrate that. Yes, can we get a round of applause? All right. You know what? Oh, okay.
I got one too.
Go ahead, go for it.
I went to the Renaissance Fair in Ames yesterday and I met 3 monks and they were awesome people. We had a nice conversation. On the downside, there was a big presentation and there was like, I don't know, 50 or 100 people there. And the guy asked, how many of you go to church? And I was one of 3 people that raised their hands and it was so disappointing. So I called them all godless heathens.
Mandy!
But this is the biggest crowd I've seen here since I started last year, so that counters it out.
That's another thing to celebrate. We had 50 people here, which is the most that has been here in 3 years I've been coming last year. So we're gonna fill the house. We got more chairs. We got more room. We can have more services. So we're ready to grow. But thank you, Randy. Yes, go ahead. Shout it out.
I got 2. One is this little business card I've heard about, but I never looked at it. Well, it pays to look at it because on the side it says Unity Spirit Seekers Fair and the date, and it's got all the different buzzwords that help people. Oh wow, I want to go to that. So this is easy. Take a bunch of these. We're going to get more. Pass them out. That'd be another thing. You know, I always remember as a kid, if I had something to give somebody, I would. Right?
Yeah.
So
I
these
ran that
little
part in the
things.
back of my paper, so I put 1,000 of them out already.
Excellent, excellent.
Thank
But
you.
anyway, this is my first. My second was, we are going to Costa Rica. That is my.
Yay!
Events that are coming through at the end of the month.
Happy
And so
anniversary,
if
by the way.
anybody's ever been there and you have inspiration or things you'd like to share with me before we go, like, oh, you might want to try checking this out or whatever, I am open to it.
All right. Have a great trip. Who else? I love this part.
I got to experience my daughter's prom last night.
Yay! Prom!
It was lovely watching them just have fun and be a kid and dance and enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
So,
Yay! Wonderful, wonderful. Go for it.
I have one. I wrote a book that was published in the fall, and the audiobook is now out and available on Audible.
Yay! Audiobook! I know you worked hard on that, on recording that. Yes, good job. And it is born.
It is born.
It is out into the world.
Yes. What's the book's name?
They're so useful.
Yes. Where our humanity meets our divinity. Our speaker today, Melissa Harris, wrote and narrated a book, and both the printed and audio book are now available. Okay, so other announcements. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing. Here's my announcements. So, I mentioned the prayer box, and you can put suggestions in there. You can put prayer requests. You can put donations if you have something to give when it's not the regular service time. All of that can go in the prayer box. It's locked, and so it's a great place if you need to get something to the office. In the atrium, you may notice that there is a big box, a colorful box for Dorothy's house. Hillary's daughter, Molly, is collecting donations specific for her DMAT class through April 27th. But I'm working with them to see if we can continue to collect donations because the need is there. There's certain things that social services do not cover, and they include things like laundry soap and dish soap and paper towels and toilet paper. You can get food, you can get shelter, you can get clothes, but not those other necessary things to smell good when you go out in public. So this is how we can help and support people, women specifically that have had experience with being trafficked and help them build their own empowered life. So that's ways that can help. There's information about the website, the organization, Dorothy's House, and also a list of donations. Gift cards to grocery stores are also helpful. So, Dorothy's House. In the back, thank you, Susan, for mentioning about the business cards. I ordered 100, and Paul Kellogg distributed them all in one day. I was like, oh, well then, I guess I needed more. So I have 250 more coming Friday. So next Sunday, if you can kind of plant the seed in your brain, like who could I give a card to? Or maybe if you go to a coffee shop or a restaurant or a hair salon, different places, like if you get the nudge, follow the nudges, people. They lead you to the way. And they lead you to someone that you're gonna impact that you don't even know how you're gonna impact them. Just trust your nudges, follow them. We're gonna have cards for you to be able to hand out next Sunday. Let's see what else on that. Oh, there are also some flyers back there, the 8.5 by 11 flyers. Next to that is a list of places that we know we can put them. And the ones that are crossed off have already been delivered. So if you look at that list and maybe it's a place that you regularly visit or you're gonna visit sometime in the next week, if you could take a flyer and cross that off the list together, we can spread the word and change the message of what church is to people. We're a spiritual
I didn't
center.
have time to get on my soapbox.
No, I hear ya. Let's see. What else do we have on here? Okay, special events. Tonight, at 5:15, there is Kirtan, which is Sanskrit chanting. You don't have to know how to pronounce words. You don't have to feel like a good singer. You just have to have a voice. And you come and you bring it and they'll guide you through everything, and it's wonderful to come together in that way. And then at 6:30 p.m. is the full moon gong meditation. Next Saturday, we have another retreat coming. We had a retreat last Sunday, which, I'm celebrating. My son went, he loved it. This next Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1, Tara is holding a goddess healing workshop, Reclaiming Your Sacred Power. And there's details on the Unity calendar at unitydemoines.com. It's pretty reasonable, and 10 a.m. to 1 on Saturday happening here. And then I want to just put a little save the date out there. We have a special guest, Mike Timborough.
It's this Thursday. The 17th.
It's not next Thursday?
April 17th is this Thursday.
Oh my goodness. How did time go so fast? Well, then I really glad I'm mentioning it, because I followed the nudge and I was like, well, I'm gonna mention this. Okay, so Thursday, April 17th, 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m.
8:30, I think we changed it.
Oh, we changed it
It's
to
2 hours.
well, on the Facebook event. Anyway,
That changed, yeah.
anyway, come at 6:30 or come at 6 actually to get your cozy place, because we fill the house. He has gongs that go like and chimes and like all these kinds of instruments. It is an event. I have gone. Come with what's comfortable. Check out the Facebook event. It's totally worth coming to experience him. So very happy to have him coming. Deb made that possible. Thank you so much for working. Do you have something else to
Yeah,
say?
the night before, Olive's bringing Chances Are Good here on Wednesday of this week.
Okay, you want to
Say that again.
So Chances Are Good, that's his real name, his parents named him that. He's a musician, does spiritual hip hop type of music. And Olive is bringing him this time, and Michael is going to lead some Tai Chi at 6. At 6:45, Olive will be doing the cacao ceremony, and at 7:15, Chances will go on to sing. And then at 9, Olive and her husband Flick are doing a sound healing. So your ticket price includes all of those things for that evening. So fabulous musician, it's really a blessing to have him here. I've been bringing him for a lot of years, and I get to be in the audience this year.
Yay! And that's the way we were talking in book club this morning, that spirit provides. We don't have to be attached to exactly how it shows up. We just have to be open to receiving the solutions that come to us, that we are loved and supported by the universe. And to connect to our own divinity, which is something Chances Are Good music helps us do. All right, and our usual events are on. You can see them on the calendar and in our newsletter. Also wanted to draw attention that Maggie, who played handpan last week, she's doing handpan sessions, a 6-week series, and her first one was last week. This week, Thursday at 4:30 to 5:30.
Because Mike will be setting up.
Oh, that's right, not this week. Not this week, it's not happening this week because of Mike. And I did arrange that with her.
Okay.
So, yes, what?
I'm doing a 3-hour DJ set here this month,
What day is that?
25th.
25th, okay.
Yes. It's gonna be a great time.
I can only do one day at a
Lots
time.
of dancing.
Okay, 25th,
Talking
April
is
25th.
encouraged.
There's gonna be a
Talking
party
is
in the house by DJ something something.
Dub Pilot.
Dub Pilot, DJ Dub Pilot. Yes, okay, so anyway, that's happening. No more details on that in the newsletter and on the website.
That's a nice long ride.
Also, I have, for people who want events, I have a new system because like, for instance, yesterday, we had 3 events in addition to our recovery meetings. So I have a lot to keep track of. And so I've got systems that I'm putting in place so I can keep myself better organized. And thank you for your grace in all of that.
Absolutely, we're all learning.
Are there any other announcements that I either didn't know or forgot to mention? Okay, all right, then let's do the statement of faith all together. There is only one power active in my life and in the universe,
the divine source of all life and love.
And next, the unity affirmation, and as we say this together, you can really allow yourself to feel the oneness that connects us all. Unity of Des Moines is a radiating center of the divine light, mighty to attract us good and to radiate good to others. And with this spirit of oneness, I have a list of people to keep in our prayers this week. I invite you to uncross your hands and legs and really settle into your chair and tune in to that aspect of you that is able to channel divine source energy and send it to these people. Karen, Michelle, Katie, Steve, Rob, Jenny, Marty, Matt, Michael, Brittany, Jerry, Jessica, Alexander, Eric, Jeannie, Angie, Devin, Marilyn, Jody, Sarah and family, Holly, Jeanette Marie, Paul and Phyllis, Seal, Christina, and people with struggles we know nothing about. The daily word for today is taken from John chapter 12, verse 13. So they took the branches of palm trees and went out to meet him, shouting, Hosanna, blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. And if you're Christian, this is Palm Sunday. Next Sunday is Easter. Today is Palm Sunday, a commemoration of Jesus' arrival in Jerusalem that symbolizes the awakening of the Christ awareness in humankind. Those who followed Jesus into Jerusalem shouted, Hosanna, blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Imagining this joyous scene, I feel inspired to follow Jesus' actions and express more and more of the love, peace, and joy in Christ's nature. As Holy Week begins, I open my heart and mind to more fully embodying and sharing the Christ of my being. I feel blessed knowing others around the world are doing the same. Together, we bring peace and healing to the world and to one another, fulfilling the promise of Jesus. The affirmation that goes along with this, I'll say it once and then if we can all say it together, is this. On Palm Sunday, I celebrate the divine presence within. On Palm Sunday, I celebrate the divine presence within. All right, let's have another song. This is another one to sing along if you are so inclined. And as Susan said, if you want to get up and move your feet, we welcome that too.
This is a really gentle song.
Spirit and I are one. Spirit and I are one. Are one, are one, are one. Spirit and I are one. Spirit and I are one. Spirit and I are one. Are one, are one, are one. Spirit and I are one. Spirit and I are one. Spirit and I are one. Are one, are one, are one. Spirit and I are one.
Thank you for that, getting us nice and settled. We can do a round of applause, even though that was a gentle song. Spirit and I are one. And with that in mind, it is my pleasure to welcome Reverend and author Melissa Harris, who is going to speak to us on the topic, Making the Two into One, Messages from the Gospel of Thomas. Please give a round of applause to Melissa Harris.
You're gonna get me all set up because I'm a low talker. So this has to be close to me so that you can hear me. And I also talk with my hands, so when I whack this and make a loud noise, I apologize.
Sorry, is that okay for reading?
Yeah, okay, great. Y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm so glad to be back here. I missed you all last month. Usually come once a month and I wasn't here last month, but I was thinking about the idea of people not attending church. And one of the things that I wrote about in the book is I did a lot of research on statistics, and worldwide that is what's happening. Church attendance is declining. And actually the largest growing number of people in this country are called nuns, N-O-N-E-S, meaning they have no religious affiliation. And so one of the things I talk about towards the end of the book is like churches have to change. They have to do something different if we're gonna continue to have this kind of way of knowing spirit and spiritual seeking. And I kind of feel like that is exactly what's happening here. As I listen to the announcements, that's it, you're doing it. So it's such an honor to be a part of this. And I'm really excited today to talk about the Gospel of Thomas. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with it. This is one, Mary Magdalene probably touches me the deepest, but I have to say, I think Thomas is my favorite, and we're probably not supposed to have favorites, but he was the first, this gospel was the first one that I read where I went, oh my God, okay, I get it, I'm starting to get this now, and so always like very, very, very dear to my heart. I think we belong to each other. This is a core belief for me, and I mean it as we as humans belong to each other, us as humans with animals belong to each other, with nature we belong to each other, on the earth, with the cosmos, everything that is belongs to each other. But I get this little struggle with the word belonging. It kind of gets in the way for me. And I'm listening to myself say this, and I was preparing for this today thinking how ridiculous that sounds, because what a beautiful word, belonging. But you know me by now, and you know that I get all nerdy with words, and I have to kind of over-investigate them. And of course I've done this with belonging. And so what I get tripped up with is because belonging creates this relational image. Not a bad thing in itself, but it means that we belong with something other. It means that these two things come together And so it might be me with my family members, or me with you, or you with each other as a community. So it creates this other, and for me, it's a beautiful thing, but it's not quite a complete thing. And so, I go looking up definitions and I start with dictionary.com. And so the first thing is talking about belongings as possessions, which of course is not at all what I have in mind when I'm thinking about belonging. But it also talks about someone belonging to someone else and getting away from the possession idea, but still a child belongs to a parent and a parent takes care of that child. Wonderful, beautiful, I love it. It's such a valuable relationship, and it's, it's what we need to survive. It's what we need to be loved and be happy. But still not quite fitting what I feel when I think about belonging. And I'm not sure really where this came from. Of course, I was raised in a family that you're a family and you belong to each other and you take care of each other. But it was also more than that. I grew up on a farm until I was like 5 or 6 years old, and we had dogs and chickens and horses and hogs, and we owned them and we took care of them. Well, not me, my dad primarily took care of them, and my siblings. I was little and I just played with them. But I always felt like I belonged to them too. And I loved climbing trees when I was little. And we had a lot of trees on the farm that were, in my eyes, perfect for climbing. I'm sure to my mother, they weren't perfect for a 5-year-old to be climbing. But it was where I belonged. I felt like I belonged up there, and I just kept going up there, and she just kept getting me down. But that's where I was supposed to be. I was part of them. So another definition of belonging is being an integral piece of something else, an integral part. Being something important within an other thing, or within it, but still has those pieces and parts that are distinct. So to me, there's something with a sense of belonging that has to do with combining us. It has to do with a union of us, which takes away that separation and even that relation, because it's now one. So it's relational because we are individual, and it's unifying because we're one. Simple, right? So I'm gonna go back to the tree analogies, and to me, trees belong to each other, and it's a really clear belonging. It is not just because they stand together in the woods or they stand together in one forest, but it's how they interact with each other. In the root systems, they care for each other, they nourish each other, they nurture each other in the unseen place. We don't know, we don't see that that's happening. Researchers told us that, but they're interconnected and intertwined in this place where they all take care of each other. I always think of that as an analogy for humans as well. Like we care for each other out here in the world in our singularities, but we also care for each other in this unseen way. And I tend to think that when I'm out walking with the trees that I'm one of them too. I'm part of that too. I belong there as well, even though I'm this puny human and I'm clearly not directly connected. I still feel that sense of belonging. And I think that's the aspect of what makes belonging important. It's how you sense it. It's how you feel it. What is it in you? What is it for you that belonging means? Is it a connection? Is it a way that you share? Is it an immersion? It can mean lots of different things. And so I've clearly thought about this a lot. I take time in contemplation with ideas like this, but I want to just give you a few minutes to sit with it. Just pause for a moment, close your eyes if you'd like, and just kind of sit and think about a time or a place or a community or something you share sharing voices in music, some way in which you feel belonging. And what does that feel like to you? I don't want to interrupt this silence because that feels really good to me, but does anybody want to share what came up for them or how they sense belongingness?
I like ancient history stuff and alternative histories and all this. And one of the things I'm fascinated with is the idea of Tartaria, which would be like a civilization that actually spanned the entire globe. And that's why there's all these Capitol buildings and everywhere from Indonesia to Iowa to New Zealand to Russia that all have the exact same type domes. I think at one point there actually was like an entire world civilization that coexisted peacefully. And I like to think about that.
Awesome, that's beautiful. Anybody else?
Mine is much smaller. It's like in my bed with my cat and my dog. And one is on one side and one's on the other, and I'm patting both their bellies, and and it's even better if the Cubs are playing baseball and winning. And we're just like, that's my sense. And it just feels like there's no stress, there's no pressure, there's no sense of urgency. There's just like a settled, peaceful, peaceful joy, not excited joy, but like just a kind of, it's hard to describe with words, but I know the feeling.
Did the Cubs win?
16-0, woo!
They were clever.
Clever
How
goes a long way.
to defeat the most powerful players that never lost a match. The Dodgers had finally lost, and it was the Chicago Cubs that stopped them. The Chicago Cubs were clever.
Yes, clever is good.
Anybody else? Anybody else want to share that?
Yeah.
I feel it in a lot of different circumstances, but the common denominator is comfort, safety, acceptance, and love.
First thing I thought of was when as a singer, I've sung a lot, but a cappella group.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone is just singing their own song, but together, it just has this sense of unity and connection and oneness. And the second thing was after giving birth to my first child, holding her and looking at her and going, there was no thought. There was no past, there was no present, future. I mean, I can feel it, but just being that oneness is the deepest I've ever felt.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So you're touching on something that comes through in the Gospel of Thomas. You just said it perfectly. I love that. So along with this idea, or this image of belonging, that's beautifully described in all these ways, there's a shift into something more encompassing than just being relational. And one of the first ways that I started to understand this was through reading the Gospel of Thomas. I was in my first year in seminary, and I was sitting in the Urbandale Library reading this, and I got so excited. I'm reading it, and I just was so stunned at how the words took me to a different place of understanding. So the Gospel of Thomas is one of those Gospels that was discovered later. It was hidden for many, many years. When the Bible was designed and codified, several Gospels were left out and were hidden, and some were destroyed. And so not a lot of people know about it. It's not something we see or hear or talk about every day. But the Gospel of Thomas has 114 logions. And the logions are like little sayings. So what they are is Jesus responding to the apostles or the disciples with all these questions that they have. And so it's kind of, in a way, very simple to read because they're short, but of course it's not simple. But so in those years after Christ lived and walked on the earth. And then they say for, a period of time until things were unified into a Christianity, there were about 300 different sects of Christianity. Sects, S-E-C-T-S. Let me be clear, I said that word correctly. And the Thomas Christians were one of them, and they were one of the larger ones. And so these followers were people who were living and breathing and embodying these teachings of a disciple whose name was probably Thomas. And they passed it along over the years until someone, and we don't know who, wrote it down as the Gospel of Thomas. And there's one particular logion that to me stands out. It's logion 22, and a portion of it is, Yeshua answered them, when you make two into one, when you make the inner like the outer, and the high like the low, when you make the male and female into a single one, so that the male is not male and the female is not female, when you have eyes in your eyes, a hand in your hand, a foot in your foot, and an icon in your icon, then you will enter the kingdom. And it goes on into Logion 23. Yeshua said, I will choose one of you from 1,000, or 2 of you from 10,000, and they will stand as one, alone and simple. So I'm going to come back to that one in a minute, but let's look at Logion 22. I didn't read the entire thing. It begins with Yeshua observing children nursing at the breast, and what he sees is them in total receptivity. He sees them 100% receiving this nourishment, and he uses this as an example to teach. He compares them, when he's talking to the apostles, he compares them as the ones who enter the kingdom. And the apostles don't understand it. They think, okay, you want us to become like kids, which isn't exactly what he's saying. In a way it is, but so he kind of clarifies for them, and he says, make 2 into 1, let it in, be fully receptive, know God within you. And that is kind of the often missed message, I think, in traditional Christianity, is this letting God, knowing God within you. Some of the teachings take us a little bit away from that idea, or a lot away in some ways. So, I want to make a quick note. I've talked about this before when we talk about the translations that come to English. So Aramaic, Maya, probably was one of the languages that Jesus was teaching, and in that language, kingdom isn't intended to be gendered. It could very easily and realistically and rightfully be queendom. It's not a specific gender. It's the feminine and masculine aspects, like more unified, more like a parent idea. And by parent, that actually means like a creator and the creation. So it's this beginning of everything always. This thing that brings us here. So I'm going to go back then to looking at Logion 23, where he's saying, I will choose 1 of you from 1,000 and 2 of you from 10,000. He's not selecting people. He's not bringing people and saying, okay, you're the one. Just like he wasn't saying, I'm the one, even though that's what we're taught. Jean-Yves Leloup, I've got 2 books here if anybody's interested. I've got 2 books on the Gospel of Thomas. There are many, and there are some really incredible ones if you want to geek out on it like I have. So he's not talking about selecting one. Jean-Yves Leloup says it's our response that selects us. It's like a self-selection. It's the 1 or the 2 who get it. And it's so difficult to comprehend that 1 in 1,000 or 2 in 10,000 actually get it. He calls it, he says they make themselves a pure capacity of God. So like those infants, fully receptive, fully receiving that nourishment. Like Thomas is starting to do in this gospel when he's listening to Jesus and asking these questions, like Mary Magdalene does, because her embodiment of this knowing is not in words. So that's how these two, 22 in particular, 22 and 23 stood out to me. But all of these lotions are saying the same thing, just with a bunch of different varieties, a bunch of different examples, because the disciples didn't get it. They were trying to, but they asked him 114 different times, and he answered them in 114 different ways. That's how difficult this is to comprehend. So they kept asking questions. They asked, "Teach us about the place where you dwell, for we must seek it." And he told them, "Those who have ears, let them hear. There is a light within people of light, and they shine it upon the whole world. If they do not shine it, what darkness?" He isn't saying anyone is dark or evil. What he's saying is if you have ears to hear it, eyes to see it, you can know that light, that heaven within you. It's not literal ears. It's if you have the capacity to comprehend. It's all kind of on you. He can teach as much as he can teach. Any of us can teach as much as we can teach. It's your capacity to understand. So in 22 and 23, when he's saying that all of this is union, what he's saying to the disciples is that you keep seeing these separate things out there, and you keep seeing yourself that way too. You keep thinking that you need to go seek and find this place, where this place is. Get it together. He's telling them, they ask him, how do you get to where you are? How do we get to the kingdom or the queendom of heaven? And at one point, Jesus doesn't even bother to answer them, because it's such a misguided question. They want him to pinpoint where he is. They want him to give them detailed directions on a map. And to him, this is a ridiculous question, because how do you draw a map to everywhere? How do you draw a map to this whole body that you are, and this whole body that each of you are, and this earth, and this everything? How do you pinpoint any of that? But he's patient. He's a patient teacher, so he continues to try to give them stories and ideas so that they can understand. And sometimes these stories seem to go in circles. So they ask him, when will the resurrection of the dead come? And when will the new world come? So he knows what's coming. He's aware of what's coming. And so he's talked to them about the resurrection in story and in reality. And he says to them, what you look forward to has already come, but you do not recognize it. He's saying it's already here, but you just can't see it. And they ask again, when will the kingdom come? And the Thomas Jesus, so the Jesus that Thomas writes about in the Bible says, it will not come by waiting for it. It will not be a matter of saying, here it is, or there it is. Rather, the kingdom is spread out upon the earth, and people don't see it. And he continually tells them, it's not just right here in front of you, it's within you. And some, have taken that phrase, within you, to mean that light, that heaven, that spirit was within the disciples as long as they were in the presence of Jesus. And this is how the teaching turned into a worship of Jesus, needing that physical presence or that understanding. But others understood that the kingdom of heaven is embodied, and not only within Jesus, but within everyone. And this is where it gets kind of sticky for the disciples like Thomas and Mary, because they're understanding this. But take us back into history. So we're going to look back. So when Jesus came and was here on earth, and that time frame, for a very, very, very long time, thousands of years before that, almost every religious tradition believed in multiple gods. So depending on the tradition, there was a god of the sky and a god of thunder and a god of the earth and all these multiple gods. And relatively speaking, in religious history, it was very recently that they had started to talk about the idea of one God. So this is new. So not only was humanity adjusting to this idea of one God, but now someone's saying that one God's in everybody. Like how do you comprehend that? And then, I kind of wonder back then, now this is, Melissa in this century trying to get what it might have been like for them. Maybe they thought this was gonna be simpler, like, oh, only one God to keep track of, and only one God to obey, and only one God to, try to please. And now you're telling me it's everywhere? Like, how am I supposed to do this? And that's kind of what spiritual seeking feels like sometimes. So the thing is, like, Jesus knew this. He knew that this is a mind-altering idea and that we can't truly understand it with our minds. It's beyond this mental comprehension. So with these messages and these stories, he's not trying to be cryptic. He's trying to explain the impossible. And in doing so, he's doing the exact opposite of what the disciples are asking him. Because they want him to be specific and direct and tell me. I need to know, I need to understand. They've asked him 114 times and he's giving them 114 answers. So as people living on the earth today, in this century, in this society, in this culture, what do we do with this? And as I'm preparing this talk, I'm thinking, you probably want me to have an answer to that. I have all kinds of ideas. So I take us back to this. At one point, Jesus turns it and he asks them, who am I? Who is it that you see? What is it that you see me as? And he gets 3 answers. And I think these 3 answers are really telling to like levels of understanding. So Peter answers him first and says, you're a righteous messenger, which in Hebrew might mean Messiah. So someone coming to teach us something, to tell us something, to show us something. Terrific answer. Matthew answers, and he says, you're a wise philosopher, probably meaning at that point a rabbi or a teacher. Again, beautiful, and yes, he was both of those things, so they weren't wrong. And then Thomas answers, and Thomas says, Master, my mouth is wholly incapable of saying who you are. And Jesus can see that Thomas is starting to get it. So Thomas is like, he's inquisitive. Thomas also, like the rest of the disciples, wants to understand this and he wants it to be explained to him, but he's starting to understand that he can't know what he doesn't know.
Right.
And so Jesus takes him aside and he tells him these 3 things. And when he comes back, the other disciples are like, okay, what did he tell you? And he says, if I tell you even one of the things he told me, you will pick up stones and throw them at me. And fire will come from those stones and it will burn you. So Thomas isn't saying they're going to be punished or he's going to be punished if he tells them these things. He's saying if you begin to know this, you're destroyed. Because you can't understand yourself as the one and stay this separate being. You can't stay this individual that you know with your personality and how your ego identifies you and who you think you are in the world if you really understand that you are one with everything. It's this paradox, you can't do both. So my idea, which is not an answer, but is that this is what we do in this time, in this place in the world. We keep coming back. We keep bringing ourselves back to understanding this wholeness, this oneness that we are. Because we're going to live in this world and we're going to know we're individual. Like, how else can we be? But we, with our spiritual teachings and our spiritual practices, we keep coming back. We just keep walking ourselves back to this idea. He's telling them not only that he comes from divine light, from heaven, from creation, but they do too, but we don't always know it's there. And it's not gone when you're in the darkness, when you see yourself separate. It's just that you're not seeing it. It's always there. And so our practice, our spiritual seeking is to keep coming back to this. And we do it in a lot of the same ways that the disciples did it. We ask questions, we seek, we look, and we learn by stories and examples and experiences, and we fall in and out of it, and that's our walk. That's what we do. I think we listen to these messages and stories and we get it on some level, and then something happens in our life where we just go about our busy lives because they're so busy they distract us from this idea, and then we come back. So I think maybe the title of my talk was a little misleading because it's not about making the one into two. The two into one. It really is misleading. It is about recognizing and acknowledging and being aware of the two, the many, the all, as one. So let's move into a meditation. Go ahead and get comfortable. Settle in your seats so you feel at ease. Maybe feel a little bit of that comfort and that belongingness. And just pay attention to your breath for a minute or two. And because we belong to each other in this community, let's take one long breath in together, this shared breath. And release it out to each other. And let's do that one more time. Breathe in one deep breath together. And exhale the love and the breath and the Holy Spirit to each other. And as you breathe on your own in this community, sitting here in silence, let go of all the words I just said. I just said a whole lot of stuff. In a contemplative meditation, we sit with those words, we sit with those ideas, but we let them go because they're going to sort themselves out. Sit and breathe for a moment in your belonging. And I'm going to ask you to take one more deep, full inhale. And really sit it and bring your attention back to the room. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Thank you. Have a beautiful Sunday.
Oh, hello. It takes me a minute to come back. Thank you so much, Melissa, for sharing that message. And I was wondering why I had not heard of the Gospel of Thomas. And I was like, did I forget about it? And I was like, oh, I got to know. There's Gospel of Mary, Magdalene, Judas, all kinds of stuff out there. You get curious. If you would like to share your resources with Unity of Des Moines, now is your opportunity to do so. And Deja, if you're watching downstairs, you can bring the kids up. And maybe Zeke, after you do the collection, if they're not up, you can go get them. But if you would like to share your resources with Unity of Des Moines, helping support this building and all of the events that it is making possible to have in the community, now is your opportunity to do so. And if you're like me and don't carry cash, there's also a little Venmo Q code, and there is a Zelle Q code that is in the atrium there. So if you want to set up something like a regular donation, you can do that through Zelle. All that to say, let's say the affirmation together. I am infinitely abundant. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I thankfully acknowledge the divine source. Thank you, Doug, for sharing that with us. And an example of spirit coming through you through the instruments. All right, I'll take that. Thank you. I'd like to dedicate this offering to do the work of spirit and truth through the people of Unity of Des Moines. And we are grateful. Thank you so much. Here you go. And now I invite everyone to stand up and find the eye of someone either next to them or across from them. Find someone's eye, pair up, and we'll go through the hand motions and words of the universal greeting of peace from the Gandhi Foundation. I offer you peace.
I offer you peace.
I offer you love.
I offer you love.
I offer you friendship.
I offer you friendship.
I see your beauty.
I see your beauty.
I hear your needs.
I hear your needs.
I feel your feelings.
I feel your feelings.
My wisdom flows from the higher source.
My wisdom flows from the higher source.
And I salute that source in you.
I salute that source in you.
Let us work together for unity and love.
Let us work together for unity and love.
I love it that we hug after. That's so appropriate. All right, if I could invite everybody now to make a great big circle around the room, there's going to be plenty of time for hugs and healing hands and conversation. There's yummy snacks in the form of Girl Scout cookies in the community room afterwards to enjoy. But we're going to sing the closing song all together. If you don't want to hold hands, you can put your hands over your heart. Let's make one big circle around the room.
Let us
The power of the divine protects us. The presence of the divine watches over us. Wherever we are, the divine